Good morning, everybody. It's Friday. Thank God. It's been one of those weeks. So I'm a little worse for wear. I don't know about anybody else, but and we got this whole cold weather thing coming up, and it's been raining here the whole day and everything like that. So yeah, I'm just happy it's Friday. So, you can imagine all of us as content creators and stuff like that, we've got to come up with an idea for a video every day. And a lot of times I'll take it off of questions you guys have or things I'm doing or whatever. And then you have days like today where there's a signal, a sign, a divine intervention, I like to call it, sometimes about something that you need to talk about. And so that's kind of what I'm going to talk about today. And it's kind of weird, but I'll tell you why. So I want to talk about your bug out location, you're moving to a new house, whatever, buying land, okay? And there's a reason I want to talk about this, all right? It's kind of interesting. It's not like this topic comes up all the time, especially people talking to me about it, all right? So I got a email from one of you today, and I'll keep her name out of it, and said, she is looking at buying some property and sent me a link to the piece of property that was on Zillow. Okay. So ask some questions, and I'll kind of get into a little bit about that as I go, but I kind of want to give you the reason for this. So I answered the questions, told her what I thought and everything like that, not like I'm some real estate genius, but, obviously I bought property before. So, okay, that just kind of go on along my day. So this evening, friends of ours ask us to come up for dinner, and so we go up and have dinner with them, and they had some news. They actually bought the property, the piece of land that they've been trying to get right next door to them. I'm like, okay, there's something going on today that is telling me that, I got to talk about land for something. So it's just, where that comes up twice in a day is just not, I'm not in real estate. So that was it. But I want to go back to just kind of a little bit about things to look at when you're actually buying land. And this was kind of the topic with one of you. Okay. So she had sent me the description on Zillow, and I will absolutely agree. This was a fabulous price. Okay. I think it was $12.5 for 1.6 acres with lake frontage, okay? And I know the lake, and it's a gorgeous lake, all right? So, that's a really good price considering, at least what the ad said, the thing was valued at 45 grand or whatever, which even to me, that sounds low because some of the properties that are around me that are, have dockability and stuff like that, they'll, at least asking, is up around 100 grand, okay, for an acre. So, this was a fabulous price. So I got into reading the description, and this is something I'd say everybody, if you're going to do it, all right, look at a lot of things. Topography, okay, what is the elevation of the land? Is it a ravine? Is it the side of a mountain? What's what's the lot? Is it cleared? Is it wooded? What it would be? Because you need to find the cost of what it's going to clear the lot, and, I know just from the lot next door that we bought, that's not super expensive, but it's not super cheap either to get out there, somebody to bush hog it all down. And then if you got to, pull a whole bunch of trees, so you can build, there's some cost involved in that. So you want to look at that, okay? Another thing to look at, your easements, especially if you're buying out in the country. And I've seen this problem happen before too. Does your property have access, direct access, without crossing somebody else's property to the main street, okay? And I've seen this before where the maps get drawn incorrectly, and all of a sudden, in order for a person who buys a piece of property, has to drive over somebody else's property to get to the main street. That can cause you a real problem if you don't get along with that neighbor, okay? Because now you're technically on their property. Years and years ago, when Mrs. Pinball and I were in Vegas, we actually went out and nobody get on me about this. We actually went and looked at a piece of property in California. And it's a nice piece of property. It was a couple of miles from a lake, so it wasn't perfect. It was pretty. And I mean, monster trees. The problem was there was no direct access to the street. I would have to drive through somebody else's property. That's a deal killer right there, okay, for exactly the reason I said. So, looking at the easements. Next thing you want to take a look at, utilities, okay? What's it going to cost to drill a well, all right? Is there going to be able to get water on the property? You need to be able to talk to the local well drilling company who can tell you roughly in the area how much it costs or how deep you have to go for the well and therefore how much it costs. Now, I mean, on our property, I think I mentioned before, my well is 330 feet deep. The guys that are all the way up at the top of the mountain, they had to go 1,800 feet, okay? That gets real expensive real fast when you've got to drill that deep, okay? So, you want to look at something like that. Is there an electric hookup? Okay. Are there, power lines in the area? That's very important to whether or not you can get electricity. Sure, the electric company's going to come put it in, but they're not going to put electricity in until you got something on the property that requires it. Guy up top of the hill who had to drill 1,800 feet, there was no electricity up there. He put his well in, and then the electric company had to come so he could hook up his well, all right? So that was it. But, there's a lot of things like that. So then the last one on this email I got this morning was this piece of property was in an HOA, all right? And we've all got, stories from dealing with HOAs. There's some really good ones, there's some really bad ones, and most of them are somewhere in between. But you need to look, before you ever even consider buying a piece of property like that, you need to read the HOA docs. What are the restrictions on building the house? Okay. Does it have to be, a stick-built house? Can you put a double wide on there? Can you put a mobile home on there? Some you can, some you can't. Okay. Do you have to build a house of certain square footage? Do you have to use a certain builder? Okay, that's very possible too. Is the house required to be brick? Is it required to be stone? Is it required to be wood? Can you have a vinyl siding house? Can you have, livestock? You want chickens and goats? HOA says you can't have anything other than a domestic animal, which would be, dogs and cats. So, you need to read all of those things. And I mean, I know so many times people will look and go, oh, look, here's an acre of land for $2,000. It's great. And then you realize, you buy the land and it's like, okay, there's no water on this land whatsoever. There's no power on this land whatsoever. Great. You own a empty lot in a field somewhere. So, I know for a lot of people, this is very easy to think of, but, because of the comments today, there was just something that I had to bring up. I thought it was a very good topic because there are a lot of people moving. Prices of land, all of a sudden, if you look, you can find some great deals, okay? Prices of land are going up, but you also have to remember from the seller's point of view, some of the sellers are getting desperate. They've been out of work for a year, whatever it was, you get fire sales on land. So if you're in the market, you can find the deals as you look. Just make sure you do your due diligence on the land. It's extremely important because, you can wind up being, caught with something that you really didn't think you were getting, and now you're stuck with it, and now you're trying to sell it. So I know this isn't super exciting, but it is kind of prepping, and it is a question I got, and I like to answer your questions as best I can, so I thought I'd share this information with everybody. So have a good Friday, guys. That's it. Real simple one today. No drama. Take care, guys. Pinball out.